Welcome back to another episode of Go Long Live. I am your host, Barry Long, the second, not the first, not the third. I am the second. We are live on CoachellaValley.com, live on today'scalifornia.com. We are also live on Twitter, all over Twitterverse, today'scanada.com. We appreciate everybody for liking, subscribing, following the page, following the show. I am joined live as I am each and every single Monday through Friday at noon 30 by my man Mo Murphy at Mo Up in Flames. What's going on, Mo? How you doing today, bro?
I'm all good, bro. How you living?
I'm living well, man. I'm doing well today, man. It's I'm doing better than Travis Scott. I can tell you that right now. So Travis Scott's got a mountain of problems on his hands. Of course, we know about the tragedy that happened at the Astroworld Festival in Houston. 8 people tragically lost their lives, whether or not they were on drugs or were trampled by the crowd. Just a crazy situation. Makes you think of, all the concerts you go to and all the kind of crazy situations that you've ever been involved in with stampedes or people pushing, the groups forward. But Travis Scott right now is losing money, bro. They're canceling him from different concerts and different festivals right now because of what's happened. So just some crazy stuff going on outside of the sports world. But we're here to talk sports. That's what we do here on Go Long Live. He is Mo Murphy. I am Barry Long II. We had some games this past weekend that we talked about yesterday. We had a game long last night between the Chicago Bears and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Controversial calls in that game we'll get to here shortly. Also, wanted to say, just real quick about baseball. I am a Dodger fan, and the Dodgers have extended offers to Corey Seager and to Chris Taylor, but have not extended it to probably the most popular, the most linked player to the Dodgers, and that's Clayton Kershaw. So we may see him pitching for somebody else next season. Just be a sad day in all parties involved with that. But with that being said, let's hop right into this Monday Night Football game that we had on last night. It was a pretty good game. Between the Bears and the Steelers. We saw Justin Fields. He struggled a little bit at times, especially early on in the game, and the Steelers got out to an early lead, but the Bears were able to claw their way back. You like that? The Bears were able to claw their way back. Bear claws. Anyway, the Bears were able to claw their way back. And thanks to Ray McCloud. Ray McCloud ended up, fumbling the ball on a special teams play, and they were able to. The Bears were able to get that lead, and then of course the Steelers had time. They came down. They got the lead off a 3-point kick by Chris Boswell, and then as time expired, Chris Santos tried to kick the game-winning field goal, 65-yarder. It was well short, although it looked a little weird on the angle on TV that we saw it from. But it was well. It looked like it almost hit the goalpost, but it didn't. It was well short, and the Bears lost 29-27. The best performance probably in that game was by Freiermuth, who is the tight end for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He had 2 touchdowns, some really key catches. What were your takeaways from the game yesterday? Did you like Justin Fields' performance?
Justin Fields actually played pretty well. Yeah, he played amazing. Let's just be honest. Like, he's getting better every week. Like we mentioned, like Justin Fields is getting better every week. We're starting to see the progress. He's getting more comfortable in the pocket. And that offensive line is absolutely horrible. So he's doing what he can with the little bit of time that he does have. Allen Robinson looked like he was getting going yesterday. Obviously, his favorite target is Mooney. Cole Kmet had a good game from the tight end position. David Montgomery came back from IR. Unfortunately, the Bears weren't able to win that game, so it's kind of tough to build off of that for the rest of the season as far as they're not that far out of the 7th spot, the final spot for the playoffs, but even still, are they good enough to really go on a tear? They're going to have to face the Packers. I haven't looked at their full schedule, but can you really see them going on a tear right now? I think you're just concerned about the development of Justin Fields. And if he builds off of, he's gotten better each week since the disastrous first week of starting due to Andy
Good God.
But he's gotten better.
Was he sacked like 9 times the first game?
Yeah, but he's gotten better every week, and he answered every call yesterday that you needed him to. Still threw a pick. He's a young cat. I mean, interceptions are contagious this year from quarterbacks. But even still, you saw on that drive, maybe he scored a little too soon, but at the same time, it was Big Ben it was the old Big Ben that you were giving the ball back to. It wasn't the Big Ben, vintage Big Ben that we know. that you would have left too much time on the clock. You had to score. You had to take that opportunity, and that pass that he threw was absolutely amazing. So, I mean, Justin Fields and the Bears played well. Obviously, like you said, the refs kind of the refs kind of controlled the outcome of the game, and shout out to
kind of control the outcome
shout
of the
out
game.
to Freermuth because he won me my fantasy last night. Right, so shout out to him.
Oh, you got him on your fantasy.
Yeah.
All right, well, yeah. So Justin Fields did make an amazing pass on that game winning, or not the game winning, but the go ahead touchdown drive. And I said it. You said when you looked at it, it was the old Ben Roethlisberger, not the vintage Ben Roethlisberger that we're used to seeing. But I knew it's still been Ben Roethlisberger, and he's been able to move the ball, consistently throughout the course of the game. He had no interceptions yesterday. He played okay. He played actually, exceptionally well for what he's been doing, this past couple of seasons. But yeah, I was impressed with some of the stuff that Justin Fields was able to do. But I was mostly impressed with his ability to bounce back and come back late in the game, because he looked like early in the game he looked like trash, and started to get better and better. And he was able to extend the play with his legs at some of the times of the game. But yeah, I think that they got a quarterback one in Justin Fields, and he's going to be there for years to come. You get him some more weapons, and who knows what can happen. But there was one controversial thing that happened in the game, and everybody was
one. There was two of them.
Well, okay, yeah, because they took away the touchdown from him. The one touchdown when they called the low block. That supposedly happened on TJ Watt. It did not happen. That was a terrible call. There was a couple of just bonehead plays from the Bears, though, with the offsides, lining up offsides in the neutral zone. They did it like twice in a row, and did it like 3 times within two series. So there were some bonehead plays there too. But the most controversial one that we saw was with Cassius Marsh. He was a player who was just called off the practice squad. He's been in the league 8 years, on and off different teams. Most recently, he was with the Steelers. Okay, so when he got in, called out the practice squad to go against his former team, he was hyped, obviously, and it came to a time in the game where he got a sack, and we'll play that clip right now, where he got a sack, and he celebrated afterwards. And we know about the taunting rules that's been happening this past season, where they took it to a little bit of the extreme and gave him a taunting rule for this. A taunting penalty for this. Okay, so he does his little, the little hurricane kick, the little whirl around kick. Then he walks over and taunts the Pittsburgh, and that's a big ass punter, by the way. Harvin, that's a big dude. Presley Harvin III is a big dude. Okay, but what we didn't see in that clip is that when he's walking back towards the Bear sideline, the official kind of hip checks him, kind of sticks his cheeks out there a little bit, and makes contact with Cassius Marsh. So Cassius Marsh was flagged for a 15-yard penalty for taunting. He thought that it was a bad penalty. A lot of people thought it was. A lot of people think that there's too many taunting penalties, and we were told before this season that the NFL was going to do this. They were going to have all kinds of crazy penalties for taunting, or they were going to lock down and be much more strict on it. And we've seen some that have warranted taunting penalties, and we've seen ones that are like, come on, man, this is football, one of the toughest games there is to play. And when a guy makes a play and he celebrate, let this man celebrate, let him have his moment. How do you feel about this taunting lockdown that they've been doing, and how do you feel about what happened last night between Cassius Marsh and that referee?
Yeah, I think how do I say this? God, it's ruining football. Like that's how you go about it. It's ruining football. As far as taunting, and I think the taunting thing as a whole, I think people are being sticklers about it, saying that it's influencing the kids. Like, bro, football was at the most fun when they were doing the celebrations, in the end zone. Joe Horn with the cell phone, Riverboat Ocho, rowed a boat with Steve Smith. Like, let's just
Ezekiel Elliott jumping into that big old Salvation Army.
He got fined for that. He got fined for that though. So let's go back to when guys were, bro. Joe Horn put a cell phone in the end zone, scores in that end zone, and acts like he's making a phone call. Like, we enjoy stuff like that. Theo with the popcorn, Chad Johnson proposing to the cheerleader, like all that stuff, donning himself a Hall of Fame wide receiver before the Hall has ever done so. Like all that stuff was entertaining. And you know what, bro? We watch football for entertainment. Guys jog, guys go back and forth, especially in football. It's a physical game.
Yeah.
Celebrate when they make a big play. Like that could have been, and I'm not saying that determined the game because Justin Fields and them still came down, scored a touchdown, but ultimately they have to punt. And so now if the next drive finishes how it finished, which is Justin Fields and them score a touchdown, now
it's a two-possession game.
To score a touchdown to win the game because now they're down 4 because they wouldn't have got the field goal. They were only up 3. So now Pittsburgh has to score a touchdown as opposed to coming, kicking the field goal, to win the game. And now, Chicago has to try and, do some Hail Marys, get the ball, march the ball down the field, and hopefully hope that they, a 65-yard field goal could get the job done. So I just think that the taunting stuff is really, man, let them talk. Let them go back and forth. If the players ain't complaining, I really don't care what the fans are talking about. Like, because the fans are still watching the game. What are you complaining for? Let them talk. It gets physical. Like, there's altercations. That's what we love football about. So the taunting is going too far as calling anybody for trash talking. It's not like he extended the play. It ain't like he ran down there and slapped everybody on the Steelers helmet. It was like, I wasn't here. Like, so it's just the taunting is getting annoying because what it is this generation of people being soft, and anybody complaining about taunting is soft. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do. If you complain about the taunting, you're soft too, and you part of the problem.
He is Mo Murphy. I am Barry Long II. This is Go Long Live. And you are right, man. It's kind of right in line with what's going on in society. I just feel like society in whole is soft in general. You can't say anything about anybody today, or you will be a part of the cancel culture. And with sports, it's right in line with what's been happening in the NBA. We see the NBA from the 80s and even the early 90s when there used to be altercations and fights and stuff. I mean, there's stuff right now that would get you probably suspended for the entire season that guys were only teed up for. You know what I mean? Or so it's just real. It's like there were some real good fights back in the day. A lot of emotion was being able to be exemplified, and now you can't do anything. As soon as you raise your hands to the official, it's a technical. The next thing you know, you argue. Now it's a double technical, and you're out of the game. The ticky-tacky fouls that they call in the NBA now were never called back in the day. And the NBA game has gotten softer and softer, gradually softer and softer. The NFL, deservedly so, when it comes to the hits, the helmets, because now we know more about chronic traumatic encephalopathy than we did before in the 80s and 90s. We had no idea about these brain injuries and stuff like that. So now that we've had more information to come down the grapevine, now we know, NFL has got to be more ticky-tacky when it comes to the hits, the helmet. But when it comes to the celebration and just taunting other players, come on, man. These are grown-ass men out there. If they cannot handle a guy getting a first down, holding the ball up and dropping it and saying first down, woo, then they shouldn't be playing football. So it's just terrible, and I think it needs to stop. This is Go Long Live. I am Barry Long II. Mo Murphy with us live. Now, so we have a segment called the most electrifying player in any sport. So whenever they have a great night, and it is brought to you by Palmer Electric. Palmer Electric is the Valley's best electrician. Give them a call at 760-797-7878 for all your electrician needs. They are doing local, residential, and commercial. So the most electrifying player that we saw this week is this man right here. That man is a bad man. That is Steph Curry. What he did last night was incredible. He had 50 points. He had 10 assists, and he had 7 rebounds. So he almost had a 50-point triple-double. But just very impressed with what I've been seeing from this guy right here. And we thought, the Warriors would be contenders. We thought they would be pretty good this year. And I thought that, they probably end up in the mid-range somewhere, 3, 4, 5, 6 seed. But right now they are sitting atop of the Western Conference, and they are looking phenomenal. They're 9-1, and they just keep on winning, and they don't have Klay Thompson back yet. Klay Thompson is scheduled to come back sometime around Christmas. Now, when they get Klay Thompson back, all the young guns like Jordan Poole, these guys are out here, getting these minutes, eating these minutes up, and now when Klay Thompson comes back, not only do you add another weapon, but now you add weapons to the bench that the Warriors previously did not have. So, what are your thoughts right now on Steph Curry and what he's been able to do with the Golden State Warriors at 9-1?
Oh man, Barry, we haven't known each other long enough to have probably argued back and forth on these type of conversations. But every once in a while, I get some things wrong, and I admit it. And every once in a while, I like to beat my chest and tell people that I told you so, because I told everybody the Warriors were going to be right back. They haven't been healthy in 2 years, and that's when everybody's been, well, Steph been doing it. I'm not even going to say by himself, because Andrew Wiggins is a good piece. Draymond Green is always a good piece. But, like, he never had Klay, and he never had that depth, right? Because their depth would be injured. They even Steph sat out most of the year 2 years ago. But look at them now. No Klay Thompson, no James Wiseman. But they've went in on their draft picks. We're talking about how deep they are with player development. When we're talking about Damian Lee and Jordan Poole, we ain't even got Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga acclimated to the NBA. They only 10 games in. The Warriors clearly developed talent because their big three is Steph, Klay, and Draymond were drafted into Golden State and developed there and primed to win championships there. So player development is not a problem. James Wiseman's hurt. He's going to come back. We don't know when Klay's coming back, but we know the comeback is coming soon. But for them to look this good, no Klay Thompson, no James Wiseman, we're waiting on players to develop in Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, who I expect by the end of the season and playoff time, well, actually both of them will be a key part in the rotation for Golden State, especially in the playoffs. You start playing that 8-9-man max. I think Kuminga will definitely be in there. I think Moody will find his way in there too, even though they are very guard heavy. But everybody was trying to tell me that I'm crazy for thinking that outside of the Lakers, there wasn't really a team in the Western Conference that I could say going into the season was definitively better than Golden State. And now look, like, they look amazing. Utah's really good too. Don't get me wrong. Utah's picking up where they left off.
And you said Utah would be up there. You said
but nobody's definitively better than Golden State. Now, would I have predicted through the first 10 games that they're 9-1? No, I would have said about 7-3, especially with no Klay Thompson. But would I predicted that they look like the best team in the league without Klay Thompson? No. But for them to look this great, for Steph Curry to be on an MVP tear, and it's 10 games in, we don't even have an MVP ladder right now. We'll let the other places do that. But if you really start to have the conversation, like, you got Steph Curry at the top of your list, especially after putting up the 50 piece.
Yeah. He put up the
50 and 50 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. Like, give them to me. Steph Curry came to play, bro. And everybody talk about these rules. And you know who's been the one guy? His numbers, it took a little dip at one point, but he still was averaging 28 points a game. And everybody was telling Steph Curry's been one of these guys, one of the very few all-star player level players or above who hasn't been affected by the rule changes.
And he is diesel as hell right now. I mean, my man's been eating good steak up there in the Bay, and looking a little older, looking like Jason Kidd more and more every day. But that he is our most electrifying player of the week with the 50-piece, 50, 10, and 7. And that is brought to you by Palmer Electric. Once again, for all your local residential and commercial needs, the Valley's best electrician is Palmer Electrician. 760-797-7878. And let Larry know that Barry sent you. Barry Long II sent you. We are Go Long Live. This is Go Long Live. I am Barry Long II. This is Mo Murphy next to me. And real quick, before we get into this other NBA news, I really wanted to show a clip. So we talked about the Rams-Titans game. It was a great matchup. Going into the game, everybody was excited to see this for a Sunday night game. Didn't really, bill as the best matchup because, it was kind of over at the beginning with the Rams spotting the Titans 14 points. Matt Stafford said that himself, but this was something that I saw. This was a fight that happened in the stands. and my man knocks out two people. He knocked out a Titans fan, and then my man right there, number 47, steps on a fellow Rams fan. We're gonna play it again. But yeah, so this guy knocks out two people. First he knocks out the Titans fan. Boom, he knocks the Titans fan out. Now he's gonna knock out his fellow Rams fan, and that dude hit the ground hard. I mean, we don't condone violence here on Go Long Live or on CoachellaValley.com or Today'sCalifornia.com. But wow, man, like that, like fans be wilding out when they go to. Have you ever seen a fan fight?
Yeah, I've seen it.
You seen it?
I'm a fan, so what's
you were in a fan fight.
Yeah, I don't care. Like,
It was the Ohio State game, Cowboy game. What was it?
no, actually, it was actually, bro. I fought fans back at like this was. I stole off on a fan in my high school game. Like,
Oh wow, whoa.
yeah, I don't play that. Don't touch me.
And the definition of stole off, if you don't know what stole off means, is basically punch someone. So you stole
Yeah.
off. Just for all the people that don't know our vernacular out here in the Coachella Valley. But yeah, so now that was a crazy instance. Yeah, and the fans while we've seen a lot of fans go crazy. I think it's got a lot to do with the pandemic. You know, people have been locked up and cooped up in the house, and it's a lot of people's first time being at professional sports games. I mean, it's been happening since professional sports have been professional sports, but it happens a lot more often, it seems like, or maybe it's just documented more. But we are seeing a lot of fans go crazy, and that will get you banned from the stadium. It may get you arrested, but you are always going to have to explain that charge to whatever employer you have out there. So if you're 21, 22 years old and you think, oh, it's funny to get drunk and get wasted and go streaking during the middle of a Kansas City Chiefs game and get tackled by the Arrowhead staff, if that's what you want to do, just know that, yes, you may get your little 15 seconds of fame. You might not even get that because they don't put it on TV all the time. But what's going to happen is you're going to have to go into your employer and you're going to have to explain why you got a drunken in public charge or a disorderly conduct charge. And that is just me being on my soapbox just for a quick moment. But now, let's get to one of the craziest things that we've seen in the NBA over the past week or over the past season so far, this young season. We saw Nikola Jokic and Markieff Morris get up in a little dust-up. And here's a clip of that play right here. Now he's going in for what looks to be like a foul to stop the fast break. And then he hits Jokic a little tough. And Jokic comes out of nowhere and just blows my man from behind, pushes him, and he hits the ground. And, of course, Markieff Morris is going to milk it a little bit. We'll show it one more time. What are your thoughts on this, man? It's a cheap shot, obviously.
Man, there's so many things wrong with all this. Like, there's so many things wrong with everything. If you just want me to be honest, like Marcus Morris should have never did it. Jokic went overboard on his reaction, though. Like, yeah, Marcus Morris, it was a dirty
Markieff.
Yeah, Markieff. Whatever. But it was a dirty foul, right? So like it was uncalled for. Kind of no place. Like he shouldn't have did that, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that hard. And so for Jokic to turn around and do that, like, and then yeah, I'm a little upset at the Miami Heat players too. Because they did all that hoopla and hollering and talking after the fact. Like, after everything, after the dust was settled. Man, Jimmy should have stole off on Jokic. Bam came in there. It had made contact with Jokic as far as little shove. Bro, he should have put Jokic on the floor. That's all I'm saying is you talking about you coming for the defense. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's fighting words right there.
I'm telling you where I'm from, that don't happen. I promise that happens, but I promise you Jokic don't make it back to the bench. And
Jokic would have got yoked up.
And nobody would have cared about his brothers. That's another thing I'm tired of seeing. Oh, them Jokic brothers. Like,
Jokic brothers.
Listen, bro, ain't nobody worried about none of that. You know, like what they do over there in Europe, bro. Like it ain't no gangsters in America. Like, bro, don't nobody care about that. Like, what you gonna bring the Serbian mob over there? Like, I'm pretty sure, you know what I'm saying? They be acting like none of these athletes come from a place where ain't no, you know, real dudes that's really with I can't cuss, but real dudes that's really with it, right? So that's one thing I am tired of is like everybody should fear his brothers, bro. Ain't nobody scared of his brothers. First off, they can't beat bullets. One, so if it really got on some gangster stuff, like they can't beat bullets, but there was so much wrong. They waited for them in the locker room, bro. It was already over with. Like if y'all really wanted that smoke, y'all really should have knocked them out right then and there. Jokic, there's a word for what he did. There's a term that we call guys like him for what he did. Morris shouldn't have did that. He initiated it. I'm not saying he's wrong. I mean, I'm not saying he's right. I'm not defending him. He did that, but it was a frustration foul. Typically, frustration fouls are dirty. That's just what it is. It was a little dirty. But for Jokic to turn around and do that, like, come on, bro.
Come on, man.
And we get away with that in the NBA.
And we saw
get away with that in the NBA.
Yeah. And we saw last year, we saw Patrick Beverly push Chris Paul from the back like that, and it was not after a foul, a hard foul, whatever. It was unwarranted, even less warranted than that. But he was suspended, and we'll probably see Jokic be suspended for this. Of course, he'll be suspended for this. And he's the former MVP, and MVPs should probably not conduct themselves in a manner like that. But you know what? He is also, like you said, he's from Europe. And I mean, maybe they handle their quarrels differently than
No,
on the,
look at he don't
basketball
get away
court.
with that. No, look at him. He don't get away
Yeah,
with
he
that.
probably should have got a 2-piece. But he should have probably got a 2-piece with a biscuit for that.
He don't.
But
I'll tell you, you gotta adjust because you only get away with that in the NBA where you deal with guys where something like that happens. First off, you gotta look out for your teammates. Second off, guys could lose money, a lot of money, a significant amount of money, depending on what breaks out from that. We saw that. We go all the way back to the Mouse at the Palace where guys lost a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Millions. Guys were suspended for the rest of the season. Like, they put their livelihoods on the line about that fight, but it got that gangster. Like, they was do that. That's all I'm saying is people worry about Jokic brothers. Like, boy, you better stay in the stands because there's some real hitters out there that play basketball. Like,
they talk about his brothers all over Twitter, man. Everybody's scared of his Serbian
and
brothers.
then you talking tough on Twitter, bro. Leave this stuff off of Twitter, bro. The Heat play November 29th. I think Jimmy Butler said he got it circled on his calendar.
Wow.
I don't think none of them gonna do nothing if you want me to be 100% honest. Because I'm gonna tell you like this. If they don't tip off and Bam Adebayo just watch the ball go up and you ain't gonna do nothing. Like, if that getting physical, getting chippy when he goes,
as soon as that ball go up, pop. As soon as you look up, pop.
Hey, if that's what you circling the date for, then that's what you're waiting for. Like, Jimmy should do the jump ball. If that's what you waiting for. As soon as they jump, bro, take your little 10-game suspension, punch Jokic in the mouth. Do what you should have did in the first place.
And Jimmy Butler can do it because he's earned enough money in this league, so where he can afford to take a couple games off, couple games suspension. So he should be the first one to pop off. If anybody pops off first, it should be Jimmy. Because Jimmy looked mad. Jimmy was like, I'm gonna get you.
Man,
and we know
late, man.
Yeah.
I love the Heat. I'm a Heat fan, but come on, bro. Jimmy,
all right, so you know what I was thinking about, because I'm looking at all the players, and I just hate when they just push and shove and they all act like they really want to fight. They don't really want to fight. But one dude who I like, he's always ready to pop off. Devin Booker. D-Book is always ready to pop off. There was one clip of him, not this past year when he got into a little dust up with Patrick Beverly and he broke his nose or whatever. I'm talking about like just before, like his past, he's been in the season in the league, 5-6 years?
4 or 5 years.
Yeah. So he's been in some dust ups, and I can remember one. I forget who it was against, but he told the dude, meet me in. They're on the opposite sides of the court. He's like, meet me in the locker room. They literally run around and they're trying to find each other. Now Devin Booker, he's a dude that's always out there looking for the smoke.
So of all the dudes in the league, right? All the cats in the NBA that point out that you gonna give them their flowers for really being with the Noah. You pick Devin Booker? Like, seriously? Like, of all the guys that have some bad boy reputations,
I'm saying he's even without a bad boy reputation.
Man, he ain't no bad boy. He ain't. That's all for show. All that look good, because guess what? At the end of the day, you know your teammates ain't gonna let you do that. You know you can't afford. A lot of people can't afford to do that at the end of the day. So I don't think everybody says in the NBA everybody's fake tough guys, and it's because none of them punch each other in the mouth. But here's the thing: all them people that be crying about fake tough guys and they not really tough. The minute one of them dudes react and punch Buddy in the mouth and take a 20-game, 30-game suspension, or what happened? Like, look at the Pistons and the Pacers. Let's just go back to that. I hate talking about it.
Let's talk about it.
Let's go back to that. All I'm saying is you just watched two organizations, two fan bases be really pissed off for the rest of the year. Those were two teams that could have won a championship, right? That looked like a preview of the Eastern Conference Finals, right? And because of them fighting, which is what we want to see now at this point, everybody telling me that they want to see these guys get bucked. But when we go back, like, bro, Ron Artest lost millions of dollars. He spoke on it. He lost millions of dollars. Jermaine O'Neal, Steven Jackson, like all these guys, we saw the documentary. But all these guys come out and talked about how much money they lost. They lost. Reggie Miller feels like that was the year they could have won the championship.
Yes.
He lost an opportunity, probably his best opportunity to win the championship. So that's what you want these guys to put on the line, and it's all good when you're not a Nuggets fan or a Heat fan. But the minute Jimmy Butler would have bust Nikola Jokic in the nose, if he would have, we would assume Jimmy Butler has this bad boy reputation.
Yeah, he looked like he
bust Jokic in the mouth, and he gets 40 games suspension. He's done for the rest of the year. He's gonna have to have a conversation with Adam Silver before he gets put back into the league next year. He's gonna have to have a conversation with him in the offseason. Now you upset because, like, man, the Heat look really good up to this point. They're one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, but Jimmy Butler had to go and punch Nikola Jokic in the mouth. Missing him for 40 games is the whole reason why we couldn't continue our success. So stop it with calling these guys fake tough guys when really all you care about is your team winning. But it's easy to say that when you're not a fan of either team, so it really doesn't affect the outcome that you're hoping to happen. But, bro, it's like, do we really want all these guys, whether they will or not, do we really want all these guys every time they get into altercation start swinging and breaking each other's nose, jaws, fists? Like, is that what we really want?
Yeah.
That's not even physical enough for us.
I mean, every once in a while it'd be nice. Every once in a while it'd be nice.
But it won't be because everybody wants the Malice at the Palace 2.0 on the court, leave the fans out of it. But then it sounds good until every once in a while, every 10 to 15 games, your best player suspended. Your second best player ain't playing for the next 10 to 15 games. You're losing guys like this. This guy done lost this. Like, now he has this reputation. These guys are losing sponsorships. Teams are losing sponsorships. They're losing less money. Instead of giving you $5 million for your endorsement, we'll give you $3 million because it's a bad look on us. You got public relation issues that you got to fix. You got to apologize for that. Do you really want that? Especially in the NBA. I don't think the NBA is physical enough. And then everybody talk about, you brought it up. I'm sorry, I'm going on my rant.
No, go ahead. Go.
You brought it up about the 80s and 90s, right? And then even the 70s and how it's played. Absolutely. And we consider today's NBA soft, right? Because they don't play like that. That wasn't basketball. Like what everybody wants back, that was not basketball.
What was it?
Do you want your Michael Jordan? Like, do you want, if Michael Jordan coming down the hole, like, especially at this point in time, do you want your star players getting coming down? Because that was at a time where the league ran everything. The NBA was not ran by a player, right? But now, like, the stars determine everything, right? I'm not saying they're bigger than basketball, but I'm saying they determine outcomes. They move freely. You knew Jordan gonna be a bull for life. Like, everybody was at one team, stayed there. That's why. But, like, now these guys move freely. They control this. Stars are bigger. They making millions on top of millions on top of millions of dollars. Yeah. Everybody's trying to reach Jordan as far as how much money he made. A lot more people are making more money on the court than Jordan made, even though money's not as valuable now. But still, there's more stars now where it was like Magic Bird in the 80s and Isaiah. Then you had, like, Jordan in the 90s. And you had, like, Kobe, Shaq, Duncan in the early 2000s. And then LeBron and them, like, this era of superstars have kind of changed the game on, generational wealth, how to get to all your money. So you want these guys, that wasn't basketball back then. Do you want these star players to be done, right? You want LeBron to get clothesline to let them know, hey, you
can't come in the lane, LeBron.
Nobody wants that, because even I grew up, it's a little bit different than when I grew up playing ball. But at the same time, like, your coach would tell you, hey, if they keep coming to the hole, put him on his butt. They would say that. Put him on his butt, make him think twice about it. But not clothesline the man. Not put him
not Bill Lambert him.
Yeah, not punch him in the face. Like, but no, go for the ball, give him a hard body contact, make him think twice about it. Like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with pushing and stuff. And I'm okay with if every once in a while one guy, but is that what we really want? Is every 5 to 6 games, once a week, we start seeing big time fights where guys will really punch each other in the face? Like, do we want to see that? Or no, that's what we watch boxing for. That's what we watch UFC for. Like,
hockey.
Basketball. Exactly. It's basketball. Do you want everything to end up like hockey, where, you know what, you got a problem, just fight.
Let's fight
for 30 seconds. They get their teeth knocked in anyway in hockey, so it doesn't matter. If the fist ain't gonna do it, a puck gonna do it. Yeah. Like, that's not the image you want around the NBA. So I don't know why fans are sitting here crying and complaining, saying that that's ultimately what they want. We want to see that. But then when your best player on your favorite team does it, now you all mad because he didn't ruin your season. I'd love to see everybody's best player go get a 30-game suspension for punching somebody in the face. And you tell me how those feel when their season goes down the drain.
Or at least they could just go just like hockey and go get what's called an enforcer. So every time you need a fight, every time somebody got to fight, you bring a guy like Charles Oakley off the bench. You bring a guy that can get ejected, and we don't miss a beat. But yeah, we are Go Long Live. I am Barry Long II. This is Mo Murphy, and we are live on CoachellaValley.com. Today's California.com. All over Twitter. Today's Canada.com. So real quick before we get out of here, we've seen that Ben Simmons is still being fined by the 76ers, and Boston Celtics have been the lead team that is headed up for discussions. They are trying to get a deal done. As far as we're hearing right now, is that the 76ers said that there's no deal unless Jaylen Brown is involved in the deal. Now, I've done a little bit of thoughts in my head about it, and I'm thinking right now, you go if you got to give up Jaylen Brown, and you give up Marcus Smart or Dennis Schroeder and a first round draft pick for Ben Simmons, I think you go do it. You got an offensive weapon in Jason Tatum, and I think that's getting enough value back for him. And I think the Celtics, I mean, it's going to be a tough place for Ben Simmons to play, but what he brings to the table defensively and what he can do as far as facilitating, I think it'd be hard to give up Jaylen Brown, but Ben Simmons is going to give you a lot of upside. What do you think about a potential trade like that?
Hell no. First off, forget. I mean, you said Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Schroeder, and some picks. Like, boy,
no, Schroeder or Marcus Smart.
Like, who was they traded for? They
Schroeder
traded for
or Marcus Smart.
No, but it's not even about that. Think about it. So we talk about hostile crowds, right? We talk about, Ben Simmons doesn't want to face that Philly crowd again. Excuse me. Boston is just as bad here. Boston is just as hard on their athletes. Let's just be honest. They used to win a championship. The Boston Red Sox, the Boston Bruins, the New England Patriots, the Boston Celtics.
It's tough to play there.
Very storied franchises. They accept nothing less but winning. Do you think if he was in Boston instead of Philly and he didn't dunk that ball that he would have got treated any different? No. So he thinks, you might want to go out. I think he needs to go to a laid back franchise that, like, the expectation isn't winning. Boston don't accept that. I see Boston fans on Twitter talk about trade Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum has been nothing short of a baller since he been in, but they're getting impatient because nothing is turning into championships. They haven't made a trip to the finals since the Celtics Big Three. They've made the Eastern Conference Finals once. Jason Tatum rookie year and lost in 7 to the LeBron and the Cleveland Cavaliers, but they're itching to get back to winning. Look how the Lakers fans were, prior to Kobe leaving. They're like, we're itching to get back to winning. We're tired of these rough days. Look how long the Knicks have been down. Now they're up and running, and they're like, okay, now let's make some aggressive moves. Let's try and win. Like, we made it to the playoffs. Next, we got to win a series. Like, once you get that taste of itching, once you get that taste of winning, you itch. You want more. The Knicks' expectation now, let's win a playoff series. Let's maybe make the Eastern Conference Finals. The Lakers won a championship, got a first-round exit. Let's win it. We got to win another championship. We got to do it for the LA. We got to do it. LeBron knows he needs one more at the very least. That's what he's doing. So,
and the Celtics fans have been a little bit. You can understand their impatience because they went out and they tried to make a splash move by going out and getting Kyrie Irving and having him as their point guard, and that didn't work out. Then they went out and got Kemba Walker and had him as the point guard. That didn't work out. So now you got Dennis Schroeder on a cheap deal. But yeah. I mean, I think Ben Simmons would actually add some value to what Jason Tatum does, and he won't take shots away from Jason Tatum because Jason Tatum is a guy that if he can get a lot of shots in high volume, he can get hot and he can drop 50 on you on any given night. And I think it could work. I think if they figured it out, but yeah, the Celtics are not looking that great right now, and they need to figure something out. They need to make some kind of move.
On the basketball aspect, like I'm cool with Jaylen Brown, and I don't know, you figure out a package, but I'm cool with a package but I'm on my side, like I'm with you.
Yeah.
Because whatever Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they might love each other. But guess what? At the end of the day, the NBA is a business. Whatever they got going is not working. Like
it's not.
It's just, and that's the honest truth. And like sometimes Jaylen Brown might be better off without Tatum and vice versa. You build the team around Tatum, Jaylen Brown. He could be they're both guys who I think could be your second best player on the championship team. No offense to Jason Tatum. I just don't think he's hit that real superstar. Like he's going to be the best player on the championship team yet, but he's also young. Jaylen Brown the same way, but I think like Jaylen Brown would benefit right away because Joel Embiid's there. Like now Jaylen Brown the second best player. Philly looked like they could win the championship and everybody else.
They fit well together too, yeah.
Right, but then if Jason Tatum, it's not about what you say. If you get the best out of Ben Simmons, Tatum's still probably better than Ben Simmons. But because Tatum's a good defender, so is Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is an all-NBA defender, but he takes that what Jason Tatum doesn't do well, distribute the ball. He's not a facilitator. He takes that responsibility away from Jason Tatum. He becomes the most valuable guy Ben Simmons does on how that offense works. They both can play defensively. God, if Jason Tatum and Ben Simmons are playing defense on the same team,
Woo.
holy hell. But he takes some responsibility and a load off of Jason Tatum's shoulders, which is now, I don't think the Celtics would be my favorite to win a championship or nothing. But like, they're just as competitive now to me with Chicago, Miami, whatever. But that's if under the assumption that all we think Ben Simmons needs is a fresh start and he's ready to gear it up to go. It's just not for a Philadelphia 76ers team. I think both teams would benefit on the basketball side. But if Ben Simmons is mentally unstable and it happens, then Boston, going from Philly to Boston, to me, isn't an upgrade as far as falling short of expectations. Them fans going to let you know. Philly might be number one. When it comes to letting you know, we know the Eagles players, 76, they all talk about it. They love you when you up. They want you out when you down. But Boston ain't much different.
Yeah, he would have to find the best shrink on Yelp in Boston.
He'd have to go in every night with the pressure of never fail, because all eyes would be on Ben Simmons to fail. And they would be like, oh my God, even though they know they want to move on and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown aren't working, if they don't make the right trade, no matter who they give up, they bring Ben Simmons and he come with that Philly BS that he was on where folded in the playoffs and stuff, they'll want him up out of there too. They'll be like, buy him out. Who cares? Get him gone. And now, like, failure at two franchises, that lowers your value, where we talking about this was a max, he's on a max contract right now. Typically, max contract guys go get a third max contract. They don't fall off too much unless they get injured. So Ben Simmons' failure at two different organizations will lower how you look at him essentially for the rest of his career.
Man, and it'll be interesting to see how this thing plays out. I, for one, will be definitely following it, and I think it could really work on both sides. But yeah, you're right. If he's not right mentally, then nothing's gonna be right. All right, so we want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we appreciate all of the love that we've been getting. We appreciate everybody. Before we get out of here, let's show them the meme of the day real quick. And I thought this was pretty funny because this guy, Derek Carr's hair looks like it could be from a Lego. And it's like, yeah, when you see Derek Carr with long hair, he's been letting it grow out. He's got a lot of volume going on there. But it's black. And I'm like, is that his normal, like his natural hair color? Yeah, obviously it is. His brother has black hair too, or dark brown hair. But yeah, his hair is fluffy like a Lego. And I just thought that was pretty funny. All right, so Mo, where can they find you at?
Yep. As always, you can find me on Up in Flames Pod on Twitter, Instagram, _Cheese15 on Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you go to offtheballnetwork.com for all your sports season entertainment. Make sure you go check us out every Monday starting at 11 a.m. Eastern with yours truly, Up in Flames on Dash Radio on the Nothing But Net channel. Goes from 5 hours straight of Off the Ball Network. We call Off the Ball Network Mondays. Dash Radio acknowledges it. They love it. They look forward to it every Monday of straight 5 hours straight of hoops talk from some of the hoops best guys over there Off the Ball Network talking ball. College basketball kicks off now. So
tonight.
NBA, college basketball, all that talk starts now. The best time of the year. Make sure y'all enjoy the games also.
Yeah, for sure. You can find me on Twitter at Radio Barry Long. I'm on Instagram at BarryLong_2. And yes, go watch college basketball tonight. It kicks off tonight. I'm excited. And we'll leave y'all with the fight that we saw. My man knocks out two fans from different teams. He don't care. All right, y'all. Stay focused, stay motivated, stay inspired. And remember, you're capable of doing anything. Go out and do it. Peace.